name is Simone Kaart. Hi everyone, my name is Simone Kaart and I'm the Program Director of the Global Resilience Partnership. Welcome to today's webinar on our innovation challenges. Thank you for joining us today and for your interest in the challenges. Before we begin, I will quickly go through some housekeeping and the agenda. And we see people are still joining, but we'll go over the basics, such as Zoom etiquette first. If you have any questions, next slide, please. Yeah, thanks. If you have any questions during the presentation, please add them to the Q&A box, and we will either respond there directly or address them during the Q&A session at the second half of the webinar. If you have a question during the Q&A session, please raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question verbally, and then we will ask you to unmute, or we will unmute you so that you can speak. If you're speaking, also please show your video. And now finally, this webinar is being recorded. You should have gotten a warning, and we will also publish the webinar afterwards on our website. And by participating in the webinar, you consent to this. So join now, leave now if you don't want that. In terms of the agenda, next slide, please. Thank you. We will start with a short introduction and opening remarks from GRP, our CEO Jesper. We will then walk through the innovation challenges, including the thematic focus, eligibility criteria, timeline, and review process. After that, we will hear from one of our current grantees, Favor from HUSH8, who will share experience from the tech challenge. And then finally, we'll open the floor to you for our Q&A. And my colleagues Shandy, June, and Felina will answer the questions you post in writing in the Q&A box. And selected questions can be answered in plenary by GRP colleagues or mentors. And I believe you can also upvote the questions you would like to see answered so that you don't have to repeat the same question again. And if you have a question, you can also check the answered questions to see if the answer is there. We expect the session to last an hour. If we do not manage to finish answering all your questions within the hour, we will share an FAQ with answers on our website along with the recording. And you can also always contact us on challenge@globalresiliencepartnership.org with questions. We'll also share the slides of this webinar online. And with that, I'm asking for the next slide and handing over to our CEO, Jesper Hornberg. Jesper, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Simone. I'm just doing a quick sound check. If the other, okay, good, thumbs up. I think maybe there's one slide for me. There we go. I'm not going to read this in detail, but it has a few good pieces of information. I'm Jesper Hornberg. I'm the one who is supposed to open this, but all the really juicy good stuff will come after me. And the real stars of today are actually you. Sorry, Ida, I think you're... there we go. So GRP was set up a little bit over 10 years ago as a program in Nairobi. It has since evolved quite a bit, and we now have team members across the globe. Last count, we had 14 different time zones. Truly global in that sense. We were set up as a partnership. We have over 90 partners today and counting. We were set up to advance resilience by scaling resilience innovation on the ground and generate and share knowledge and also attempt to shape policy. And that's what we're doing. You and what you do and what we're doing through our innovation work very much drives that, because you are the real change makers on the ground. So it's a facilitation process, if you want. I know that Simone will cover some of this, but just to say that we've done this particular kind of work, running calls for proposals for many years. Hopefully I'm allowed by Simone and her team to join in some of the exciting work around the innovation piece. I'm going to stop there. We had a record-breaking number of people sign up for this. I'm going to stop there and allow for more time for other presentations and also any questions that will come up. So Simone, back to you.
Thank you, Jesper. And I see we have one hand up. Please note that we'll be going through the presentation first, and then we will answer questions in the plenary at the second part. So after Ahmed, if you have a question that you would like answered now, please raise it in the Q&A. And if you run into any technical issues, please write to Ida and she'll sort you out. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. So we are soliciting today transformative resilience solutions across 3 thematic innovation challenges. This is the first time we're doing it, and we're pretty excited about it. The first is the Resilient Agriculture Innovations for Nature Rural Challenge, also known as RAIN 4. It's our 4th iteration of the RAIN Challenge. And RAIN focuses on nature-positive resilient solutions in rural contexts. Second, we have the Resilience Innovation Through Scaling Entrepreneurship's Urban Challenge, also known as RISE 2. It's our 2nd round of RISE. And this focuses on resilience innovation in urban informal contexts. And then third, we have the Technology for Evolving Challenges in the Humanitarian Context Challenge, also known as Tech 2. It's the 2nd round, and this focuses on AI-enabled resilience solutions, particularly for emergency and humanitarian contexts, also known as Tech for Emergencies, and that is what the Tech 1 challenge focused on. And in this year, we also have a dedicated window on Tech for Nature solutions, and more on that later. This call for proposals has been developed with confirmed funding support from Trafigura Foundation, Shockwave Foundation, and Munich Re Foundation. Additionally, we are working in collaboration with the International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, ICIMOD, and the SEACAR Alliance, BCG, WWF, and Think City. And we thank our funders and partners for their support and contributions. Next slide, please. Thank you. I will now talk through the challenge timeline. As you should have seen, the call officially launched on May 1st, and the application window runs until the 22nd of May. Please be sure you submit your applications before then. In June, applications will be reviewed, and around 30 to 40 finalists will be selected and informed, along with non-selected projects. Between July and September, our finalists will receive support to refine their proposals. Grantee selection will take place in September, with winners publicly announced at COP31. Then due diligence and contracting will happen between October and November, followed by grant disbursement in December. Implementation will then run throughout 2027 from January to December with regular mentoring and support check-ins. In addition, an in-person induction workshop for winners will take place in Q1 of next year. Next slide, please. A key feature of our Innovation Challenge is that we have a 2-stage selection process, as you've already seen. So approximately 30 to 40 finalists will first receive tailored mentoring, communications, and mail support to help refine their proposals. Finalists will also participate in a virtual leadership academy that will take place between 6 and 9 of July. Please save the date if you're applying, because we do expect you to attend the Leadership Academy, and we will only be able to inform you of your selection quite late in June. So please be sure to already save the date. From the finalists, approximately 20 projects will be selected and receive funding up to $50,000. Winning projects will also continue to receive mentoring, communications, and mail support throughout implementation in 2027. We also have opportunities to participate in investor forums at events like COP or London Climate Action Week. Next slide, please. Now, I think the thing you're all keen to learn more about and probably asking dozens of questions on, the eligibility criteria. The challenge is open to both non-profit and for-profit registered organizations. So we do not accept proposals from individual people. You need to have a registered organization. What's maybe not clear enough is that non-profit and for-profit also includes public and multilateral organizations. So I hope to have answered your questions on that, and we will make it clearer in future and forthcoming challenges. Geographic eligibility is based on where the project is implemented, not where the organization itself is registered. And we have now updated that in the guidance to be more clear about that. The projects must be implemented in countries eligible for official development assistance, ODA, as defined by the OECD DAC. We can provide a link to that, and we will also upload this webinar slides so you can check it for yourself or easily find it through Google or similar. We welcome both experienced implementers and emerging entrepreneurs that show strong potential to implement their resilience solutions. So experience or length of registration of your organization is not relevant. What matters is that you have a registered organization and you show the potential to implement your solution. What is very important is that solutions should do no harm. So there should not be any negative impacts on communities or nature. Okay, I'll try to speak a bit louder. If anyone else has issues. There are also other requirements to take into account. Overly generic AI-generated applications will not be considered. So please be as specific and concise in describing your solution as possible. Clearly outline your thematic fit to the challenge, your unique value proposition, and the value for money. In addition to that, gender equity and human rights considerations need to be included. We prioritize locally led innovations that build the resilience of women and youth. Over 50% of people supported through our challenge should be women or youth. In addition, applications must be submitted in English through Submittable. We apologize for this. We are a small team. We don't have a lot of non-English speakers, so please use Submittable to submit, or use English as your language of submission. You are free to translate it, of course, but do know that future reporting will also need to be in English. And we do not accept emailed applications. And then finally, organizations may only submit one proposal as the lead applicant. You may participate as a partner in other proposals. Next slide, please. Thank you. On the geographic focus, we have 3 thematic challenges that are all open now to solutions implemented in any ODA eligible country. We do have a slightly different geographic priority for each, and I'll go through that in a bit of detail now. While we are taking RAIN global from the original focus on East Africa, we do still have funding earmarked for solutions from East Africa. We have expanded the original scope of East Africa, which now also includes the DRC, Djibouti, Eritrea, South Sudan, Sudan, and Somalia, in addition to the earlier RAIN countries. We also have an interest in for-profit innovators from the Hindu Himalaya due to our partnership with ICIMOD, but no funding earmarked for that. And we do really welcome and urge innovators from other countries that are not mentioned here to do submit and put your application in. RISE is the simplest in terms of geographic focus and focus on urban informal contexts across the Global South. So there's no priorities or earmarked funding there. Tech is also open across the Global South, but the 2 windows have a slightly different geographical prioritization. Within tech, the Tech for Emergencies window focuses on contexts where climate-related emergencies intersect with high levels of humanitarian need and limited local response capacity, whereas the Tech for Nature window is open across the Global South, but we have a special interest in solutions from Southeast Asia due to our SEACAR partnership. We do not have funding earmarked, but we're exploring co-financing for Southeast Asia specifically. And then finally, exclusions apply for entities and individuals listed on international sanction lists, including those of the United Nations, European Union, and United States Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control lists. And this is also documented in the guidelines. Next slide, please. Thank you. Building on the lessons from the Resilience Science Must Know flagship report launched late last year at COP, we are looking for transformative resilience solutions that go beyond bouncing back and instead turn risks into opportunities. We also recognize that human well-being and prosperity depend on nature, and therefore seek nature-positive approaches across all 3 challenges. In addition, we want to respond to the current geopolitical and economic context, including the rising fuel and fertilizer costs. These developments and priorities shape the thematic focus of each challenge. For RAIN, the focus, I will stress it again, is on nature-positive applications across rural contexts. We will apply a high bar here. Applications should clearly demonstrate positive outcomes for nature, not simply indicate reduced harm or mitigation benefits. We are also particularly interested in food security solutions in light of the current fuel and fertilizer crises. For RISE, we're looking for applications focused on urban informal contexts in general. We also have an interest in urban nature solutions and green mobility. And then for Tech for Emergencies, the window, the focus is on AI solutions in emergency contexts. Solutions should either help address and mitigate the effects of extreme climate events and/or strengthen anticipatory action frameworks in emergencies. The stress is on AI solutions, but there's a limitation on that. Whereas for Tech for Nature, it's open to wider technology and digital solutions and not limited to AI only. And clearly, the Tech for Nature focuses on nature solutions. We welcome applications that align with more than one thematic challenge. The guidelines include examples also of the types of solutions we are looking for, but please feel free to surprise us. Next slide. Thank you. All applications will be assessed against a common set of evaluation criteria. and each criterion is weighted and scored as part of the assessment process with a maximum score of 100. Further information on the evaluation criteria and our scoring approach is available in the application guidelines within the application portal. We do expect a large number of applications, and therefore the review process will take place in 2 stages. The first stage is an eligibility screening and rapid assessment by GRP based on the initial application information provided in the first part of the application form, as is also clearly indicated in the application portal. It goes beyond, it's a section before other evaluation criteria. At this stage, we will filter out applications that are overly generic AI generated, offer poor value for money, or do not align thematically or geographically with the challenge. From there on, approximately 200 shortlisted applications will move into a more in-depth review stage. Each shortlisted proposal will be reviewed by 2 people, 1 member of the GRP Secretariat and 1 GRP mentor. We will also directly share shortlisted applications of interest with our funders. Last but not least, former and current GRP grantees as well as GRP partners are automatically shortlisted for in-depth review and strongly encouraged to apply, as is the only way you can receive continued funding through GRP. That was it from me. I'll be there to answer many more questions along with my colleagues during the Q&A, but also happy to hand over to Favor.
Just give me one moment to get the slides.
Yes, no problem.
No. Over to you, Favor.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Favor Gidibi, and can everyone hear me? Okay. Thank you for being here today, and it's a pleasure to join this session and to share our experience with the Global Resilience Innovation Challenge, how we moved from vision to implementation. I'll be introducing myself and our innovation briefly. Next slide, please. My name is Favor Gidibi. I'm a pharmacist and the founder and CEO of OSHAID, which is a digital health enterprise in Nigeria. We won the Tech for Resilience Innovation Challenge, and we are currently carrying out a project called OSHAID Hours. So next slide. So I'll be talking about how Global Resilience Innovation Challenge actually helped us to why we applied, what the support actually enabled, and a few lessons from the experience. Next slide, please. In communities, usually, let me ask a question. When we talk about floods and when flood hits communities, what happens to essential services? You don't have to answer it, you can answer it in your mind, but the truth of the matter is that they break down, vulnerability increases, and response is delayed. So we thought about this at OSHAID Hours. We are trying to predict the risks of sexual and reproductive health and how it is related to climate change. So most of the time when we talk about infrastructure and we talk about climate shocks, we usually talk about infrastructure and we talk about environment. But most of the time, we do not talk about how it is related to health. So what we are trying to do is to ensure that individuals in these remote communities can have access to healthcare facilities. Next slide, please. So briefly, OSHAID, that's our innovation, it's an AI-powered early warning, early action system, right? OSHAID means early warning, early action. So it is an AI-powered system that predicts reproductive health risks that is linked to climate shocks before they escalate into emergencies. So in simple terms, it helps health workers to act early before care is missed and before response arrives late. So the goal is anticipatory action. Next slide. So I'm sure that many innovators in the room, or if you are building something, you would understand that building a system can actually take a very, very long time. And without the right support, it even takes a more extended time. What GRP helped us to do is that it helps us to accelerate that process, right? It helps us build more consistently. The mentorship shaped our thinking, and the learning environment actually helped us to approach our problem more deeply. So the combination of all of that was very important for us at that stage that we were at. Next slide, please. So what did the grant enable? So it helps to shaping our system thinking and deepening how we actually thought about scale and sustainability. It also helped us to scale faster in terms of partnership. So the funding, the mentorship, and the learning environment actually played a very important role in moving our work forward. Next slide. Okay, so when we got into the second stage, we carried out something called Leadership Academy, and it was one of the most valuable parts of our experience, such that we were able to carry out various exercises such as system thinking exercises, group work, collaborative problem solving with people from various sectors and different countries. So it actually showed our leadership can operate in complex and uncertain environments. Next slide. What actually stayed with me during this is that it's helped to reshape how we thought about leadership. Most of the time when you think about leadership, you think that a leader always has the louder voice, always have all the answers. But leadership is actually less about having all the answers. It's about listening, adapting, and working collaboratively, even in uncertainty. Next slide, please. So where are we right now? I can say that GRP actually enabled us to build properly, right, from the stage that we were in, which was early stage. Now we are in the implementation stage, and we have been able to get partnership with state level in northern Nigeria. We have been able to pilot to two rural communities in Nigeria, and our AI system has been built. We have been able to secure partnership from various organizations. So the work is no longer early stage, is now already in motion. Next slide. So beyond the funding, GRP also connected us to mentors, to peers, to innovators, working across various resilience challenges globally. So we had the opportunity to learn alongside others. And there's something that learning alongside others does to you is that it expands how you think about your own work and the systems around it. Next slide. Okay, so the mentorship was also very practical because it focused on implementation, sustainability, and what actually happens in the real world. So it helped us to pressure stress our work, and that level of engagement was extremely valuable for the stage that we were in. Next slide, please. So my advice to applicants is that strong applications are actually grounded in real problem. They are clear, they are practical, and they are honest about the stage that they are in. So clarity always matters more than polish. Next slide. Okay, these are 3 things that stayed with us, a few application tips that helped us. First and foremost, we started with the problem and we ensured that our solution was practical. And we also thought beyond the pilot phase. We thought 5 years, 10 years from now, and those are tips that you can also incorporate into your application. Most importantly, make your work easy to understand. Next slide. Okay, so this experience really shaped how my team and I think about resilience, collaboration and leadership and innovation in general, right? It helps us to build that leadership, and it also helps us to be able to scale our projects. We are still in development, but GRP has really helped us to shape our growth so far. Next slide, please. Okay, so the deadline is May 22nd at 11:59 p.m. Can scan the barcode to apply. Next slide. Okay, my contact details are here. You can reach me if you have any questions to ask. I'm happy to engage with you. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Favor, for your gracious words and sharing your experience with the GRP process. It's really, really wonderful to see that. Also, thanks to my colleagues who are answering rapidly all the questions in the chat and the Q&A. We are now open for questions. Please continue typing them in the Q&A, but also feel free to raise your hands. We have over 500 people participating, so I don't know if we can answer all your questions. I see a lot of hands popping up now, so that's great. First, I will ask Jasper to maybe explain a little bit more about what we mean by resilience and how we define entrepreneurships, because we have seen a few questions coming about that. So Jasper, if you wouldn't mind elaborating a bit on that, and then we will I'll ask Ida to unmute people who have their hands raised, and we'll take those questions one by one. But first, to you, Jasper.
Yes, thank you, Simone, and thank you, Favor, as well. Good to see you also here. These are good questions, and I'll try to answer them separately. They are connected, though. Resilience, as we see it, is a sort of a capacity, you know. Sometimes, and it depends on what the situation is. Sometimes it's the ability to withstand, to persist. Sometimes it's not that; it's the ability to adapt. And sometimes, and this is the kicker, we think it's the ability to transform. So looking for that transformative change. Now that happens at a wider, larger scale, if you want. So I'm sorry if this is not a very clear answer, but it is as sort of clear as it can be. It's the ability to do either of those things that you need. Now, in the context of entrepreneurship, we obviously think of this as innovation, and innovation is a very important part of the ability to be resilient. Entrepreneurship is solving problems. If I answer the question, what is innovation? You can all Google it or find it on some search engine. But it's finding something, finding a new way of doing something, or finding something that is new, that can do new things. That is what we're looking for here. We're looking for solutions to help persist, to help adapt, and to help transform, ideally, so that the solution doesn't bring you back to square one, because that would be a little bit too little, right? It needs to put everyone on a path towards a prosperous future instead. So it takes a lot of things into consideration. There's a lot of things that sort of fit into that definition, and it has to by definition. We're opening this call for proposals up quite wide, with the very intention of allowing the strong brain power of all of you and your peers to come up with solutions that we haven't thought of, that no one has thought of, right? So it's about that. So in summary, the answer to the first question, what is resilience? It depends a little bit, but it's going to include the ability to persist, to adapt, or to transform, and sometimes a blend of all of those. And entrepreneurship is the ability to make something happen. So you might have a good invention or innovation, but you need to make it happen. And that is not only the idea, that is also your ability to make something happen. And we could hear from Favor, she had a great idea. But it was not just the idea that made it happen. It was Favor, and it was Favor's team, and her ability to engage with others, and the support she could muster from other stakeholders and partners. I hope that answers your questions. I'm going to look at Simona to see if I made any sense.
Some sense, no, a lot of sense.
Okay.
Thank you, Jasper. I wanted to add that I think for the on resilience. We have added a question to the form. We've simplified the form mostly, but added a few questions, mostly around thematic alignment. And as we did delete a lot of things, but the one question we added is that you should explicitly mention the shocks or stresses you are building resilience against. So that should help, and at least one of them should be a climatic shocks and stress, but resilient solutions can build resilience against multiple shocks and stresses. I think that's ideal. I'm gonna ask Jose to come off mute and ask his question. Jose Gregorio Higuera. Feel free to unmute and ask your question in the plenary. Going to the next person. This is my first time trying this. So, MD Hassan, as we are not hearing from Jose, do you want to unmute? Yes. Please come in.
Yes, thank you. This is Abir Hassan from Bangladesh. First of all, I would like to thank you, the GRP team, for arranging this webinar. My question is regarding the application process. Since we need to apply through the provided online form, we are required to answer the questions within specific word limits, which is somewhat different from the traditional proposal submission format. Additionally, for the budget section, I noticed that there is no option to upload an Excel sheet or a detailed budget breakdown. Instead, we are required to provide the budget information in the text format, which may be less clear and detailed. Could this create any issue during the evaluation process?
Hopefully not. I think this is what I mentioned also when we were simplifying the form. The reason why we did this is submittable. If you export the data and want to share it with our funders or other partners, you have to individually download a budget file, a work plan file, a table, risk table, etc. And this is why we have removed the specific tables and we just have data in narrative format. If you struggle with this, I think a tip with that is you can still use AI. There's nothing against that. It will help you present your data in a useful format. And we're not requesting very detailed budget information at this stage. It's a two-stage selection process. We now are mostly keenly interested in your ID. And then the details will follow during the mentoring process and submission of the full proposal. So I hope that answers your questions. And if it turns out that this was not helpful, we will learn from this, but we are hopeful that it actually means this is a simpler lift for all of you. Thank you. I'll go to Justice. And now I can ask you to unmute.
Hello, thank you so much for the opportunity. This is Justus speaking, joining the session from South Sudan. Mine is a quick concern in regards to whether we as the bidders, we have an opportunity of blending the two thematic areas like rain and tech for in our innovation idea that we are submitting. That's one. Number two, while you are going through your slides, I failed to see the list of the countries that thematic tech for nature qualifies for. So maybe if you can check that quickly and respond. Thank you.
Yes, for Tech for Nature, we don't have a thematic geographic country focus. Since we are working in partnership with SEACAR, which is a focus on Southeast Asia, we have a specific interest in countries from Southeast Asia, but it is not required. Can you remind me your first question? Sorry, there's a lot going on.
Yes, my first question was if whether with the bidders we are allowed to blend maybe an idea that can focus both on the thematic areas of rain and tech for nature, if that is allowed, or you only need to focus on one.
No, you can, and it's actually encouraged. You can select 2 or actually 3 thematic focuses for your challenge. I think we do ask you to indicate your primary one, but I think my colleagues can confirm that. But yes, you are able and eligible to commit to more than one thematic challenge. The funding amount will likely still be up to $50,000. So it does not mean you increase the grant size amount.
It's okay. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Then I'll go to Francesca.
Hi. Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. I have a question on the rise one. I'd like to know if the solution, sorry, understand that this thematic area look at urban informal context and nature-based solutions and green mobility. So I was wondering, should the solutions be applied in informal settlements? Or, for example, it is enough that people living in informal settlements are benefiting from the solutions, and this one, and maybe also if solid waste management, black soldier flies type of activities could be considered innovation, and especially black soldier flies as natural.
Evander, would you like to answer the question on RISE, since you are one of our RISE mentors? But if not, I think, yes, black soldier flies are of interest, but you need to clearly demonstrate how they are nature positive. Now, that's the first question. And then on beneficiaries, RISE focuses informal contexts. So urban informal contexts, so yes, check slum dwellers should be part of your beneficiaries ideally, but it could also be informal workers like waste pickers, etc. Maybe, Vander, if you are able to speak, you can unmute yourself later and come in. And Nelson, there was also a question I was hoping. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to open my mic. I can't hear you, Evandro. Maybe you could come in later and reflect once we figured it out. I'll hand over to Nelson though now. Maybe, yeah, Nelson, you're there. I asked a question for you if you could answer some reflections on that in the plenary.
Yeah, there is no actually the bar is very low. It's just an idea, I guess.
Nelson, can you answer? I typed the question, so the participants have not seen it. Can you maybe read out loud the question and then answer it?
Okay. So the question is, what level of existing implementation or proof of concept is expected at this stage? It's basically just idea stage. So if you're thinking about an idea, or so there is no limitation. It's just an idea, and it has to have obviously potential. So you need to demonstrate your idea has some kind of potential to scale and to be sustainable. So it's not just a random idea that we will be taking.
Thank you, Nelson. Yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Evandro is now there, but I think the question for you is, Evandro, if for RISE, how you would define informal contexts or the beneficiaries. And there was another question if black soldier flies are also eligible, and I answered that one. Can you try to speak? And then to how you would define informality and what you would deem eligible applications, or interesting ones.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you are. Thank you. Yeah.
No, sorry about this. So the question is related to how we define informality, no? I mean, in the different contexts, and of course, especially related to the to the RISE challenge. Just to confirm, I'm getting the point correct. Yes, perfect. So first of all, I mean, I think it's important to consider the context within which the application is being made. I mean, there are different levels of informality, of course, related to, for example, the I don't know, livelihoods, housing, and other aspects, related to the initiatives, and of course to the experiences, of each one of the countries. And for me, the most important thing is to. Sorry, it seems like I'm facing some connectivity issues.
Oh, we can hear you fine, Evandro. Yeah, I can still hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So I think the most important thing here is try to understand how not only, I mean, from one side, the idea is not really to try to convert, those that are, for example, working on or doing any kind of actions in formality to formality, but understand how to incorporate and support them in whatever they're doing. So once again, I think the most important thing here is to understand what informality means in that context, what kind of elements, that regardless, of the level of informality that's missing, in terms of the actions that are being taken. And as Simone has already explained, how to ensure that this support is transformative. It's not something that is a one-off kind of support that could disappear after some time, but really something that can provide this more sustainable impact. I know it's a very philosophical and a little bit generic answer, but I hope it helps understand a little bit better. Over.
Yes, thank you so much, Evandro. And now I'll go back to our attendees because we have a lot of questions from them. Kajol, wait, can you just a second? Yeah, now I think you should be able to unmute and ask your question. Or is that a legacy hand?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm Kajol. I'm from Nepal, and I'd like to know that I think I got my answer a bit in the chat section, but yeah, we as one NGO, can we partner with other NGOs from the same country, and also can we partner with the international organizations from other countries, but do the project and implement it in Nepal itself? Because there is a special interest that is shown in this challenge for the Hindu Kush Himalayan countries. So I'd like to know more about that.
Yes. Okay, good question. On who's eligible, any organization can apply, whether alone or in partnership. So it doesn't matter where you're registered, as long as the project you're proposed to implement is implemented in an ODA eligible country. And then the Hindu Kush Himalaya countries are of interest specifically for profit solutions, because that's related to our ongoing HKH ICE challenge that we run in partnership with our partner ICIMOD. So I hope that answers your question. And for anyone who has a question that was already answered, you feel also free to lower your hand, and then we will go to someone else. But thanks so much for that question. We also love to hear from you. Marshall?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, please. Can you hear me? Good afternoon
Yes.
from Nigeria. My name is Marshall Ifeanyi Chinaka. I have a number of questions. Can you hear me? Should I go ahead?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I want to know, in the guidelines, Nigeria was not specifically mentioned. Is it out of place if I apply from Nigeria? That is one.
Yes,
Second,
you're eligible.
okay, thank you. Secondly, I have another organization that has expertise in the areas that I would like to collaborate with. Can I partner with them to apply? I
Yes.
am into agriculture and they are into technology, and I want to use their technology to provide security for my area of operation. Is it okay to collaborate?
Yes, yeah, you can only apply with one organization can also submit one application as the lead applicant, but you can as an individual participate in how many proposals you would like. And also if you have multiple companies, I guess you could submit multiple proposals. Yes.
All right, thank you so much. And my last question is, what number of people am I expected to reach? Assuming I am approved, I'm granted, and I'm working in an area in, let's say, Nasarawa State in Nigeria. What number of people am I expected to cover in that area?
This is not an easy. Yeah, that's not an easy question to answer, because the value for money of your solution depends on multiple factors, right? We are willing to, for very early stage but hyper innovative interventions, we expect maybe a lower number of people reached. In more difficult situations to work, security, conflict, post-conflict contexts. It could also be that the number of people to be reached is lower. So there's no straight answer for that. I do want to stress that it is something we are looking into, and we have also made it part of our initial screening process. So if you're proposal, if your innovation has been around for a little while and is quite tested or not super innovative and also not reaching that many people, then I expect we will not select you. But it is always a balancing act. There's not a clear number I can give you there. Apologies for that. Thank you for your question.
You're welcome.
See the number of questions. I'll go to David, and after that I'll hand to one of our mentors for some reflections. But David, please answer your question.
Thank you very much, Simone. I'm David from Kebulan Psycho. I have two questions. One is related to co-funding. Is it a requirement? And even if it's not, would it influence the evaluation criteria of a proposal if an organization proposed a co-funding or a contribution towards the project? And then the second question is related to costs. What kind of costs would you consider to be ineligible for this application? Are there particular types of costs that would be ineligible?
Good questions. On the co-funding scoring, how we take into account, co-funding is not a requirement. It's also not something we score particularly high on. Please do mention if you have other funders. It's part of our scoring criteria. With additionality, we would want to see how our investment would provide you to do something additional. And another area of consideration is that we do care about the sustainability of your project results. So we would want you to think about your exit strategy from the start. There's no guarantee that there will be continued GRP funding, so we do feel it's important to take that into consideration. And co-financing can be a part of that, but in your budget, we would want you to propose only the portion that you would want GRP to fund. If that makes sense.
Thank you.
In terms of no worries, and in terms of ineligible costs, I don't really know. I think maybe if there would be unnecessary asset acquisition or things like that, but it's really, again, too difficult to state anything. Of course, no illegal or inappropriate activities, but I think we're pretty open. If you need something to implement your innovation and make it a success, then I don't know there's no strict requirements on that, but that's something we can work through during the budget and proposal development stage. It's the second part. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Okay, Eva, now I would like to hear from you a little bit about some common misconceptions about the challenges that we have launched, if you want to come off mute.
Hello, everyone. Hi, thanks, Simone. I think, I've been reading applications for a very long time, like many of the people on the panels. Can you hear me all right? Because I think I was having problems with volume earlier today.
Yeah, it's okay? Good for me. It's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll talk a little bit louder just in case. So there's a few things that tend to pop up as confusions in the various challenges from time to time. So with RISE, one of the more common confusions is looking at urban things and urban resilience rather than informal urban resilience. So this is a challenge for informal urban areas. And it can be quite hard because in a city planning process, informal areas don't normally get taken care of because of their nature being informal. And you also need to show, again, resilience. Climate resilience is the base. How are your project, your activities, and your work plan giving the communities that you're serving more resilience? Meaning that at the end of the project, they're in a better state to resist, resolve, come through the various climate disasters that will be before them than before. Okay, so with RISE, be aware it has to show resilience. It has to show resilience in informal areas of an urban center, right? This doesn't have to be a mega city, but it does need to be an urban center, a town, or a city. And I think in terms of rain, the agricultural one, there also tends to be a confusion over sustainability, sustainable agriculture versus nature positive, nature-based, and climate resistant agriculture. So we are often finding applications that are asking us to fund essentially projects where build a better monocrop. This we do not see as part of the general gist of climate resilient agriculture, right? Climate resilient agriculture is quite wide. It might be very difficult for me to define as a non-expert. I'm more of an expert in innovation than agriculture. But if what you're asking us to do is fund a monocrop, it's very unlikely that that's going to lead in any really substantial way to climate resilience in the agriculture in that space. I'm wondering now if there's any sort of recurring themes in tech, or if any of the other mentors want to talk about that and talk about any kind of misconceptions where we got to tech, because I haven't read quite so many of those applications.
Eva, I think with just 8 minutes left and Ida putting a hard stop to the webinar, let me try to just answer. I think for tech, what's tricky is that for the ongoing Tech for Emergencies challenge, which we had run before, the focus is on AI solutions only. So it needs to be AI. Whereas for the Tech for Nature challenge, we can consider wider technological IT solutions, digital solutions as well. That's a partnership with SEACAR. Okay, let's continue. I have one question that I was asked to answer in the chat, which is about the minimum viable amount. This is the amount basically that, so we will provide funding up to $50,000, and as opposed to different years where we have allocated funding that can be substantially smaller than that, we now have around 20 funding confirmed to allocate around 20 grants of $40,000 to $50,000. And so we will be allocating most of that, but we also retain the right to allocate still varying amounts. So what we want to know is, what is your minimum viable proposal? Below that, we should not consider you. So I hope that answers that question. Now, and thanks, Eva, I'll now hand back because we have 13 people with raised hands. So I'll ask Katweed to unmute and come in.
Wow. Thank you for choosing me. First and foremost, I want to thank you guys and girls for providing what seems to be a huge undertaking in terms of your challenge and your themes. And these things seem to be more than timely, but they touch upon me in terms of the work that I'm looking to do here in the Philippines amongst slow food communities and achieving the goal of good, clean, and fair food for all in biodiversity and heirloom regenerative agriculture. And so there's a number of proposals we've been looking to submit to different organizations, which have all fallen flat, to be quite honest, but we've learned along the way. And so where we are now is we're in Iloilo, Philippines, and we have a number of different projects that we're working on for what I'm calling a multi-community organization that is encompassing what's becoming what is the West Visayas and a particular province. And what we're looking to do is to scale what we have happening right now, given that we've just come off of a phenomenal opportunity through our slow food education in the island next door. So let me get straight to it. If we were interested in applying, we want to make sure we don't waste our time and your time, and make sure that our application can be firmly considered, because we're looking at also resolving issues related to emergencies, flooding, and as well as making sure that we're able to reach other communities to help them scale, which is what being a movement is all about, in our humble opinion. And so, in as much as we've drank the slow food Kool-Aid, we want to make sure we're able to make impact in a way that is clear, reasonable, impactful, and achievable. I don't think there's quite an acronym for that yet, so I'm just throwing that out there to the group to consider. And we'd be very interested in applying. I'm a little concerned about the time frame. 9 days is not, if It's 9:59 p.m. here on May 13th. We're about 4 months away, right, darling? From looking at going back to the Terra Madre in Italy with some proposed solutions to propose there. So I ran out of breath for the question, but I'm hoping that you'll take a look at what I put in the chat as I hit it again with a smile and hope that we can be considered. And just thank you for your time. And I've learned so much just listening to what it is you guys are seeking to do. Thank you, Simone. And thank you all. And I think Gasper was the other gentleman's name. So thank you so much, as well as Nelson and
thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, with 3 minutes less, thank you so much for that comment. On your consideration, we do appreciate everyone putting time and effort into the challenge process. We have done our best effort to make the submission process as light touch as possible. Please read the guidelines carefully. Do feel free to use AI to help you draft the proposal. The initial proposal should be a light lift, and the second stage is not that much harder either. We can't make any promises, of course. We have over 1,500 people registered for this webinar. So we expect many applications, but we do make sure that we review every proposal, at least the first stage, the first part of it. But we cannot make any guarantees. But thank you so much for your insertion there. With 2 minutes left, I'm not sure how many more people I can unmute. Let's see.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to close soon. If you've raised your hand now, maybe I can just ask you to make sure you type your question in the chat, in the Q&A chat box. What we will do is we will make sure we will copy all the answers there, and then we will draft a Q&A document, which we will upload to our website later this week. We will also upload the recording of the webinar, and you will see the questions we have answered live there. And honestly, a lot of the information you're seeking is in the guidelines. It is in there. And then finally, if you have another question, we have colleagues answering the questions that are sent to the Innovation at Global Resilience Partnership Challenge email. If you can go to the next slide, Ida, will also be shown. I don't want to say day and night, but 5 days a week across multiple time zones. So please continue to send your questions there if you don't get answered in time or if you need a more urgent answer. There is indeed 1 more week to close the timeline, but there's no other or better time than today or tomorrow. So please do reach out. We are here to answer your questions now. We will not extend the timeline. We've already scheduled the Leadership Academy, so we're working backwards from that. And there's a really tight review process with many partners involved. So please bear with us. Please submit your proposals. Please submit an original, authentic proposal that aligns with our thematic challenges. We will make sure we have your proposal reviewed and given the consideration that it is due. And if you don't make it this round, then don't be demotivated. Please feel free to try again next year when we will have another round of challenges. And please also share the word. With that, I want to thank you all. I want to thank everyone who presented. Special thanks to Favor and to Jasper and to our mentors and to the people typing furiously in the Q&A to answer all your questions. Sorry we couldn't answer all of them, but we will make sure that everything gets answered before the end of this week and that you have all the information you need to draft the best proposal that you can and submit it by the end of next Friday. Thank you, everyone. With that, I will close this webinar. Looking forward to your proposals.